Well, bonjour, bienvenue à la breakfast centrale. Welcome to Breakfast Central, by the way. Don't mind us. I mean, we're just kidding. By the way, it's Tuesday, day 2, and we're excited to be here. I mean, we all got here safe and sound. Nobody had any scuffle in the air. But
well, we didn't. Thankfully, we didn't pull any. Wow, you're dry.
Yeah. I'm just happy, by the way. Morning.
All right, good morning, and thank you for joining us this morning on Breakfast Central. We're trying out new things, every day experimenting. Tell us what you think about this new look, and if you enjoy it, you can let us know on YouTube at News Central TV. We're streaming live. Drop a comment in the comment section to tell us if you prefer this or you want the tables. I am Olive Emodi. You're welcome back.
And I'm Benga Borough. Welcome to Breakfast Central. This is the best place to start your day. We give you the best of all the information, analysis, news stories, just everything you need to start your day right. So sit back, relax, and welcome aboard. And on this flight, there will be no turbulence, there will be no dragging, there will be no aeroplane stopper. It's going to be smooth.
That's giving Elizabeth Joyce.
Yeah, I have my pilot and co-pilot and first officer. We're complete. We're ready to go.
We're ready to go.
The only thing we don't have is cabin crew, flight attendant.
And disruptor, flight
disruptors.
So it's going to be...
Speaking of...
But I don't know what's going on these days. Why the aviation sector? There's so much... It's been in the spotlight. It started with the renovations, then it went on to aeroplane stopper, and
not really.
social media has called...
It started with the former Edo State governor.
Oh, yes, Adams
Shomole. Yeah.
Then the renovations, then it's been in the spotlight.
Well, I think maybe that's just an easy target for people right now because people are angry and every opportunity to vent out their anger.
And as a lawyer,
yes,
I thought, that symbol, Lady Justice, she's blindfolded, right?
Yeah.
She's meant to mean impartiality.
Yeah.
She's meant to be neutral. And everybody's meant to be equal before the law. But it seems sometimes, in the cases I've seen in the last 1 week, Lady Justice, when it came to the aeroplane stopper, she was blindfolded. But yesterday, Lady Justice, wow, Nigerian Civil
Aviation Authority.
Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority, Nigerian Judicial System. I didn't know it could work so effectively, so quickly, remanded in Kirikiri.
Chap, chap.
Chap, chap.
That's what they call
That means Justice used to blindfold herself sometimes and remove
the blindfold.
Well, incredible.
Speaking about Justice blindfolding herself and removing the blindfolds, this is the argument that we've seen. The likes of Aisha Yesufu have come out on Twitter, on X, to put videos talking about the situation. And even His Excellency Peter Obi, while criticizing what Comfort Emerson had done, but also saying that it's selective justice. He said that if they could do this for her, good for the goose is good for the gander. What is good for Comfort is good for Kwam 1, so...
It's good for Kwam 1, it's good for Kwam 2.
Exactly.
Yeah. And what is good for Kwam 2? I heard we had Kwam 3 yesterday as well. Yes, a video, but we're not confirmed yet.
We heard
it happened same yesterday, same Ibom Air as well. But we need to ensure that we confirm that story.
Yeah.
But before we proceed, just to help our viewers who are tuning in and joining us, we're saying welcome. I think we should start from the beginning. Let's start
what we came
what
here
we're about
to do.
Exactly.
So, this scuffle that happened in the flight from Uyo to Lagos made waves on social media, not for the right reasons, for the wrong reasons. And Ibom Air has finally put out a statement. When we took the story yesterday, there wasn't an official statement by Ibom Air. But now let's take a look at the statement that Ibom Air put out on X yesterday. They said, Ibom Air confirms that on Sunday, August 10, 2025, an incident occurred on board our Uyo-Lagos flight involving a passenger, Ms. Comfort Emerson, whose conduct posed a serious threat to the safety of our crew, passengers, and aircraft. Shortly before takeoff from Uyo, Ms. Emerson was instructed in line with standard aviation safety procedures to switch off her mobile phone. She bluntly refused to comply until the pilot in command made an announcement, after which a fellow passenger seated beside her took the phone and switched it off. Who sent you?
Class captain.
Who sent you? It's giving Kemi Bednock. Anyway, this action prompted a verbal tirade. This action prompted a verbal tirade from Ms. Emerson. The situation was eventually calmed and the flight departed as scheduled. Upon arrival in Lagos, Ms. Emerson waited for all other passengers to disembark and then proceeded to confront the purser who had earlier instructed her. She walked up to the unsuspecting purser, stepped on her, forcibly removed her wig, forcibly tore off her wig, removed her glasses and threw it to the floor, and used her footwear to assault her. She slapped her several times, and when the other cabin crew member tried to intervene, she slapped her too. She then attempted to forcibly remove a fire extinguisher to use as a weapon, an act that could have damaged and grounded the aircraft. By this time, the pilot in command had alerted airport security. Before security could arrive, the purser, as seen on the viral video on the internet, prevented the passenger from leaving the aircraft until security arrived. The arrival of Ibom Air security personnel did not deter the passenger as she attacked them as well, lashing out violently at the security personnel. She was then restrained and removed from the aircraft by force. Even after disembarking, she continued to assault Ibom Air security personnel and even slapped the ground supervisor. The passenger was removed from the ramp and taken into custody by FAN security and handed over to the Nigerian police force for further investigation. Ibom Air has since submitted a report on the incident to the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority and placed a travel restriction on Ms. Emerson, who will no longer be permitted to fly on any of our aircraft. Ibom Air reiterates its zero-tolerance policy towards any form of unruly or violent conduct that threatens the safety of passengers, crew, or equipment. Such behavior will be met with the strongest possible response, including legal action and permanent restriction from our services. Now, this last paragraph is very interesting. They said, we commend the bravery and professionalism of our crew in handling the situation under extremely challenging circumstances, as well as the swift support from airport security and the Nigerian police, who told Ibom Air that their crew was professional in how they handled that situation.
Let's not rush. We've gotten their, we're dissecting it.
So we don't miss out.
We've taken the report, the press release. Ibom Air has explained what happened. Now, let's see if we can get FAN. FAN also put out a statement. I think it's
Even
good
the Minister of Aviation.
Let's analyze all what was put out there. So FAN, recurring incidents of unruly passenger behavior at Nigerian airports. Quite tiny, but then again, we'll try to see it. It says the Federal Airports Authority of Nigeria has noted with concern the increasing frequency of unruly behavior by some passengers at our airports. We wish to categorically state that such conduct is entirely unacceptable within the framework of civil aviation and will not be tolerated. Passengers are strongly advised to acquaint themselves with the passengers' rights and responsibilities and airlines' obligations as published by the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority, NCAA, and the Federal Airports Authority of Nigeria. It says by laws. Moving forward, the authority will not hesitate to implement relevant sanctions as stipulated in ICAO Annex 17, Nigerian Civil Aviation Regulations, especially Part 17, and FAN bylaws against any form of disruptive or threatening behavior within airport premises. We wouldn't go as far as reading everything. Let's just jump to the penultimate paragraph. It says, regarding the recent incident involving a passenger on Ibom Air, while the situation was initially managed by security personnel at the Murtala Mohammed Airport's Domestic Terminal 2, MM2, the FAN Aviation Security AFSEC, that's the team, has since intervened, taken the individual into custody and handed her over to the Nigerian Police Force to further investigation and prosecution. And then, of course, they end by simply saying the safety, security, comfort of all airport users remain our top priority, and acts of inappropriate behavior will be met with the full weight of applicable laws and protocols. So take note of that word.
Signed by my namesake.
Full weight. Full weight of applicable laws and protocols. So
all
two.
right.
We've
So
taken
that's
two now.
two.
Yeah.
There have also been passengers who have claimed that they were there and they shared what
Eyewitness report.
Eyewitness report. I don't know if you have the tweet of someone who claims to be a passenger on the flight, and his name is a certain Tunde A. Ibrahim. He says, I was on board. It was a crew member that resisted the lady from coming down because of put-off phone and no put-off phone. The lady told the crew that her phone was already on flight mode. After landing, they refused to allow the lady from coming down, saying they have called airport security to pick her up. In fact, they pushed the lady back on seat for many of us to pass. So there are a number of things I want to pick out. First of all, I strongly, categorically condemn her reaction, her behavior yesterday. We think that that was very, very irresponsible. That's not a way to act. She was violent. She assaulted the staff of Ibom Air and security personnel, and that should be totally condemned. Now, put that aside. I want to reference the press release given by Ibom Air, and I feel like something is missing here. when they say that shortly before takeoff, she was asked to turn off her phone and she didn't turn off her phone, and it was a passenger that turned off the phone for her, and then she waited for everybody to disembark and went to attack the purser. I feel like there's a missing block here.
What does the purser have?
Yeah, so the purser was the one that announced. Then she didn't attack the passenger that took her phone to switch it off. It feels like something is missing. Something is missing. That it doesn't feel like that's the real or the true story or the full picture. Let me put it that way. It doesn't feel like that's the full picture that Ibom Air has shared in that instance where you say the purser announces for her to turn off the phone, a passenger picks up her phone and switches it off, and then all of a sudden she waits until everybody disembarks from the plane and then goes to launch an attack on the purser. That being said, I think it was very irresponsible how Ibom Air staff handled the situation. Does Ibom Air train its crew members on how to de-escalate tensions professionally? Because ensuring that you're dragging her out of the plane in the most despicable way that reveals her nudity. And all those people who are saying whether she wore underwear, she didn't wear, please, that's a very lame argument.
It shouldn't even be.
It's her decision whether or not she wants to wear underwear. That's not even a part of the argument. So somebody pulled her out in the most degrading way, and then another staff was filming. Please, let's not even show the video. Let's not show the video. Our producers, please come back to us. Come back to us on screen. Yes. Somebody then pulls her out, and then a staff was filming that video, saw that she was exposed, that her breasts were exposed, and posted it on social media, thereby ensuring that her nudity is being shared. And different handles, different pages, different blogs have been sharing her nudity. Is that the look of professionalism, Ibom Air? I think that whilst you're criticizing her for how she's acted, rightfully so, it's important for Ibom Air to take some measure of responsibility for how it has acted, handled this matter very irresponsibly. So everybody on this side, like each side of the divide, has a role to play and has some responsibility to play, and it'll be fair if people stood up, told themselves the truth, and took accountability.
Absolutely. I mean, my take is on the way just like you said, Ibom Air ground staff and also the crew members handle that situation. There have to be more dignifying ways. If you're going to use a handcuff, if you're going to restrain her, you should do it in a dignifying way, not dragging her on the floor. Imagine if I had hit the stairs on our way down. We'll be talking about something else here. She might have fainted, something. It could have been a worse situation. So they need to do proper training on de-escalating the situation. And then the ground staff at the tarmac, were they aviation security or Ibom Air security? I mean, there should be ways of handling this sort of things. And the biggest blunder in all of this is the swiftness at which the FAN, aviation security, the Nigerian police were able to do this. And then we saw a similar incident. Thankfully, it wasn't so long ago that we have to rejig our memory to question or did this happen in that situation or not. It's still just 2 days ago. It's very clear in our memory. Somebody, I mean, you deprived 100+ people from flying. You were clearly moving, obstructing a plane, and the laws are very clear. The stipulation of the law is there, and what we get is an apology and government officials saying to err is human. I mean, it smacks of double standards. Both parties should face the law equally and be responsible for their actions. It's not fair that you're so quick to charge one party to court and remand her in prison custody, and then the other person, just because it happens to be a celebrity, you sweep the case under the carpet. It's totally unfair.
They would say that they haven't swept it under the carpet.
They're investigating.
They're investigating.
Okay.
That they first gave him a 6-month flight ban, and I'm now hearing that they've made it an indefinite one until pending the conclusion of the investigation.
What are they investigating? Why didn't it take so much time to investigate?
Investigation for Quam 1 should be investigation enough for Quam 2 as well.
Exactly.
Anyway.
Well, good points. I mean, I agree with some of the points highlighted, especially from the press release. But I think if we should also try and dissect it in 3 ways, if you ask me. My first one will be the issue. What is the issue? The issue, whether you like it or not, from Quam 1 to Quam 2 still borders on what the law that governs the aviation sector does not accept. So whether one was fighting, because I did see some comments, people were like, oh, Kwamwon didn't fight. He didn't engage in fisticuff with anyone. So his case should be either tendered with approach with mercy. But that's not so, because that's not what the law says when it comes to the aviation sector. However, both of them, they've engaged in unruly acts of conduct, whether we like it or not. But the point is, the issue is the issue. And the issue here is that our lady, our dear Nigerian, decided to act unruly. And let's be honest.
It's true. It starts from the individual.
Let's start from there. That's the issue. We all board planes, and when they tell you, please, can you switch off? We switch off, okay? I also agree that the story, there's something missing. There's a missing link in that story that we need to find. However, maybe nobody's talking about it, but let me highlight it here. The presser that came from Ibom Air says that a lady, a passenger, a fellow passenger did what? Took the phone and put it off. Where is that passenger?
Exactly.
Where is the passenger? Because if that passenger, there's not a report that I saw that she was waiting until she touched down Lagos and then she attacked the passenger. You can check, it's there, it's online. That she attacks the passenger. So at this point, FAN, you know, the minister, everybody should put the entire reports that they have together and find the truth. Because whether you like it or not, there is something that may have aggravated that lady
in everything
to act
you
that
do,
way.
I mean, as individuals,
but regardless,
you think about your family, your friends. If my family members see me fighting or acting unruly on the tarmac, what would that say about me?
That's it.
And it's part of the things that keep us grounded and checked. So all of this started with individuals behaving badly and unprofessionally. They told you you don't have to throw tantrums and act like you're bigger. Just follow rules and regulations to avoid all these sorts of things.
That's it. And the statement of, oh, do you know who I am does not exist.
It doesn't count.
Yeah. So in her case, like I also said, you don't know how people would react to you when you are violent. Nobody.
Yes,
if
you have no right
and hits me,
in
I don't know how I'm
any
going
case.
to react.
It's the first attack. That's who attacked first. You don't have a right to lay your hands on any individuals, regardless of the grounds of provocation. Once you go physical, then whatever happens to you after that, I mean, it's your fault.
So let's replay the script now. Let's replay the script. One, they said there was a third party, a third person. There's no statement on who this person was.
No name, no identity.
We don't know who this person was. According to that story, the person was one who picked the phone and said, put it off and so on. And then the story, another story, like I said, also came online was that she was waiting. As soon as the plane touched down Lagos, Murtala Mohammed, she attacks the person and then the purser and every other person.
Which doesn't make sense.
And so on. Now, we don't know the generality. I always say this, and I'm going to say it again. You don't have every information, every detail of the story until everything has been investigated thoroughly. Now, that's one. But it doesn't still give credence to our action. That young lady should have just said that you saw the part where she was slapping the purser, you know, and so on. At that point, I think she stepped her boundaries. You don't even attack the next person. And the lady said, look, she's slapping me. At that point, she also put out her own video where she did put the camera and said, see, she's not allowing me to go. She's not allowing me to go. Why would she allow you to go? What did you do prior to that before you would say she did not allow you to go? So you see, all we're seeing is in bits and pieces, different images, pictures, videos, and so on and so forth. Now, there's another video where she was indeed given a cloth to wear, and the transport came to pick her up, okay?
The bus.
The bus. And when that bus came to pick her up, there was a man who was inside that bus who was well clad, well dressed. Of course, he was from the Aviation Authority. And guess what she did? She attacked him too. And she held his suit, pinned him down, and the man was like, he didn't do anything. He was like, look, 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 look.
Joe.
She also needs to be tested.
Oh, I agree. I do think that the amount of rage she carries on the inside,
it's way too much.
It's crazy. And I would say that maybe she should get a psych evaluation to be sure that all is well there. But I want to go back again to that video, because someone just pointed out, someone sent a message to say, go back and watch the video. And we can't play the video, unfortunately. The video of her being dragged off the plane, showing her breasts. We can't play that video on TV. Apparently, it looked like there was somebody there who actually pulled up her top. That's what it looked like. But that being said,
I don't agree with that.
No, I will show you the video.
I've seen the video and I don't agree with that.
That being said, I would say this again. Ibom Air, give us the full picture of what happened. It just doesn't make sense that a woman received the instruction to turn off her mobile phone, and then because she refused, her passenger turned off the phone for her, and then after the flight landed, she went and attacked the person who made the announcement. That story does not make sense. We need the full picture. Also, take some measure of accountability for the highly unprofessional way in which your staff handled this matter and de-escalated it, revealing a woman's nudity, not just revealing it, filming it, and then posting it on social media. That was classless, tactless, irresponsible, and you also deserve to take some measure of accountability.
I absolutely agree.
What we say is that, just to mention, for those who will say, oh, we're making excuses for, if you watched the show yesterday, we thoroughly trashed down the show yesterday when we said it was terrible. At the time, this naked video did not come out. When we saw the other videos where she had acted in the way that she acted, we said she deserves to be interrogated, to be, this matter deserves to, she deserves to face the full wrath of the law. That there's no argument that Comfort acted very, very irresponsibly, very violent, and anybody with that level of anger should not be seated with other people because you are a danger to other people. She kept attacking, picked up her bag, almost flung it at someone. But again, I've seen some people who argue that you can beat a child but cannot tell the child how to cry. That yes, there is a huge level of anger on the inside of that woman, but then again, you as an adult, think about it. If in a plane, somebody strips you naked while they're bringing you out in the most dehumanizing way, how do they expect you to react? I mean, I'm not...
Let's be careful by saying they stripped her naked.
They did when they were pulling her out.
They did.
They did in the way that they
part of the altercation.
It was not part of the altercation.
Why would you not endorse it? We don't endorse it whichever way.
Wait. Why did they not get a security personnel to do that?
Those were security officers.
No, it was the IBOM. Look at it. They had the IBOM air staff.
You did have
IBOM air staff
downstairs.
I mean, while they were waiting for aviation security to arrive.
They should have waited for the aviation security to arrive.
But then, while they were waiting for the aviation security, if things had gone out of hand, if she managed to get a hand on the fire extinguisher, we'll be saying something else now. So there was a clear and present danger.
Let's not, one thing I said this morning yesterday while going through this entire footage, look at this same person we're talking about, throwing rage and tantrum, and I'm hoping we get the video where she was inside of the bus. Take a look at this, slapping someone. Now, would Olive do this? The answer is no.
So this is
you would
terrible.
rather just wait.
I agree.
Or
and
you
I
would
say
calm
that
down.
See,
this in science, they say there's action.
The issue with IBOM Air, and they had no right to put in their last paragraph that they commend the professional way in which they handled it. They didn't handle it professionally because modesty was violated. And
she has that she can sue now for that.
So
yes, both parties are wrong.
The good thing is an NGO has offered to represent her. There's an NGO that has written, and they've said that they have a list of lawyers who are ready to represent her. And I think that is good. So let them counter-sue. Let them sue IBOM Air or sue whoever they want to sue, especially for tearing her clothes and so on and so forth. And this is where they gave her a change of clothes, or rather she got one and then she changed.
After you filmed her boobs, so you now give her clothes.
And then that video emanated from an IBOM Air source that is circulated widely on the internet.
Exactly.
So they have to take responsibility
I agree.
for that.
That person too should be found. Who was with the phone? Who is that person? That person too should face the wrath of the law. In other words, that person should learn that in as much as we are handling issues like this, you do not carry out certain videos or video or record and then share, because that video was shared.
The video was even meant for internal investigation.
Internal auditing, internal review.
All right.
Well, you used it and then you shared it. My point again is this. We've looked at the issue, and the issue is what we've actually seen. We've seen the reactions, and I'm going to say this clearly. I mean, everybody decides to have their opinion, but you can never in life decide how somebody will react to your own violence. Nobody. There are people who go with knife in hand. I mean, we're not preaching violence, and try to kill the next person, unbeknownst to them that person is a black belter. And the person decides to react in protecting his own life, and that leads to your ending up in a comatose. That doesn't mean that the person, this person is wicked, you shouldn't have kicked him. The person, you were coming for me, I had to save my life.
Again.
That's that. But we're not preaching. That's not what we're saying.
Again, what we're saying is
morally,
what is the full picture? That paragraph does not suffice. What is the full picture? Saying we need the full story of what happened. And it would be great if people who were on board that airline will please come to the public or reach out to us here at News Central TV. We want to hear the eyewitness experience of what happened inside the plane. But that being said, Comfort has been banned from flying locally and internationally. I wonder how, if she wants to go to London or any other place, how she will go. First go to like Libya. Or go by road.
No, she'll use route. But then again,
it's not
the context, the major context, you see, if you've noticed, we've looked at the issue. The major context now that we should also be spending time discussing, although we're out of time, is the justice.
Yes.
That is the.
I mean, that
is what we should be focusing on.
The double standards.
Because that is the problem. That all this one we are talking. Oh, she did this. Let's be honest. She was on.
Because if an example had been made,
so
it would have been ringing in her head that I better de-escalate the situation.
So,
let me.
And I'm hoping that this serves as an example to people who are watching. No matter how angry you are, it's important you know that there are cameras everywhere. People are filming. Even if there are no cameras, they're you know, what's the word? I'm trying to. If your right has been. This is a
video of where she was in the bus.
Yeah, I know. This was after.
She was unhappy.
If your right has been violated,
look at that young man just standing on his own. The other one is making a call, of course.
Don't leave that in. Did you hear in the camera when they were saying this is terrible?
Hold on, Olive, hold on. Look now. What is this now, Olive?
I said that they should do a psych evaluation for her. That I think that there's something not quite okay with her. Because when I saw this was the clip that made me think this is not normal behavior, that they should do a psych evaluation for her to be sure that there's something. Because it looks like she snapped. Like there's something in her just snapped. So it would be great for them to do that. But that being said, if you find out that your right is being violated on the plane, know that there are remedies available to you. Just make sure that for the moment, as much as you can, you try your best to stay calm and not be the butt of the jokes later on. And then later you can press
on the right side of the law
as much as you can. So even if they had said to her, we're trying to arrest you, okay, you're not in support of it. Stay back. Call your family members, call your lawyers, start letting them know what is happening because you're entitled to a lawyer. But don't put yourself up for public ridicule in the way that this woman has unfortunately put herself up. Let's get reactions from this story and share them with you. People, of course, have been talking about it on X for the past 2-3 days. Kwam 1 day house, Kwam 2 day kirikiri.
You see?
It's just another day in paradise.
This is from Daily Farouk. This is what we should focus on now. The perverted justice
so simply
that was meted in 2 situations.
So let's say the lady is actually mad and did too much. Someone recorded her being dragged off the plane, recorded her being exposed like that, and then posted it without editing out this exposure or blurring it out. LOL. I personally want to know who posted that video and why no one is holding him or her accountable. Ibom catch your shade. Because Auntie will face the law. But voluntarily posting her half naked for millions of people to see when less than 10 people actually witnessed it in the first place deserves punishment.
100% agreed.
And that's not just punishment, it is a crime. Let people know that sharing nudes is a crime because you have shared her nude. Because you can't condemn one madness and leave another one. Exactly. That's what Simply Simi has said. Paul Ibe says, the assault of Ibom Air crew and airport security officials on Sunday by an Ibom Air passenger, Ms. Comfort Emerson, is the reason why we need to be deliberate about nipping bad behavior in the bud. There's a temptation to hail the airport security officials of acting swiftly and removing the unruly passenger from the aircraft and the tarmac. But the question arises, why was Kwam 1 also not bundled out of the tarmac in the same manner when he, in a hostage-taking manner, obstructed ValueJet airline operations in Abuja last week? Maybe it was because Comfort is not a friend of the president.
I mean,
this is the reason why the authorities should have made an example of Kwam 1 to avert copycats like passenger Comfort from breeding a Kwam 2 scenario. The question is, when will Kwam 1 be arraigned in court along with Comfort? The world, especially the International Aviation Body, is watching. So everybody's highlighted this.
Yeah.
Comfort Kwam 2 is a daughter of a nobody, while Wasiu Kwam 1 is a bosom friend of Mr. President. President's friends enjoy presidential privileges. All men are not equal in Nigeria. Dr. Charles Omoyele says, I try to stay out of the drama that goes on in Nigeria on a daily basis as much as possible. But on the matter of the lady being dragged off Ibom Air, I feel there is an important point to make. The guys carrying the lady out of the aircraft were wearing Ibom Air yellow vests. Note, please highlight that part, which usually mean they are staff of the airline. If this is the case, then they are completely wrong in even touching her, since the aircraft is on the ground. They should have simply called AFSEC, Aviation Security, to come and take her out. The airline ground staff are not permitted to do the job of aviation security in this circumstance. God will bless Dr. Charles Omole for this.
Yeah, but things could have gone
They should have
extremely
waited.
out of hand.
AFSEC are better trained to do so and have the right tools to deploy. It is not the job of the airline employees to physically carry a recalcitrant passenger off the plane in this circumstance. What if she had banged her head and died? Exactly. They should have waited for
What if she has
security.
used fire extinguisher to break somebody's head?
Two truths can coexist. Move
Even
on.
if she leaves the aircraft, she can easily be tracked within the airport and arrested. I'm not excusing the lady's alleged behavior in any way, but officials must also respond appropriately to passenger misconduct. Hopefully, an investigation will reveal the truth and sequence of events and lessons will be learned. Okay.
Three truths can coexist.
Because
They could have restrained her in a more dignified way.
Ikenna
that's it.
Zimora says the Ibom Air girl did not block or impede an airplane. She just fought an air hostess, but she's in prison. Pamon assaulted an air hostess and the pilot, blocked and impeded the plane, which is terrorism. Even did a show over the weekend, and he's at home chinchilling. Well, the Ibom Air girl did not get a chance to do an apology video. Valid.
There was no time.
I've said it before that one thing she can do now is let her lawyers try and get into Kirikiri, let her do an apology video, and let's post it. We will take it here on Breakfast. And let's hope that when we take that video, she'll be released. Because the truth is, if she's not released, then we can write this.
I mean, you don't even need to wait to that. It's
No.
obvious double standard.
Binga.
I mean, the way he was even treated, he said they offered him a private jet to take him to his destination, you know, pampering him after breaking the laws
Well,
of the
there are
country.
stories that isn't true as well.
Okay.
That it was just in that press release that came from his media aide, of
Yeah, but
which
it came
everything
from-
written in that press release has been proven not to be true.
Okay. So as we, wrap up the story, just to mention the highlights, because we've touched on many things regarding the Ibom Air story. So first, Ibom Air, give us a full picture of what happened, because that explanation doesn't really suffice. Secondly, Ibom Air should not applaud its staff for having acted professionally, because there was nothing professional about filming a
Taking a
woman,
video.
ensuring, pulling her in the most
And
undignified way,
circulating that video.
revealing her breasts, posting it on social media, and circulating, ensuring, of course, millions of people around Nigeria have seen it. And to all the blogs and handles that are also reposting this woman's nudity, you all are part of ensuring that you are propagating the wrong that Ibom Air did. Please desist from sharing her naked videos. That's the other part. Then, to talk about the woman who has been arrested, we strongly criticize and condemn how she acted in the most unruly manner towards Ibom Air staff, because her actions showed so much rage, so much anger, and nobody should react like that. So we're hoping that a psych evaluation is done to be
forgot
sure.
one more very
no, I'm not
important
done.
bit. Okay,
Psych
good.
evaluation should be done to ensure that they check that all is well upstairs. And my final thoughts would be the manner and the swift manner in which justice was meted out to comfort Emerson. Can Nigerians truly say that that was justice if the same was not done to Kwamuon? That's all that we have to say.
Well,
you want to add anything?
Nothing
you've-
more.
you've said
I
enough.
think we'll just follow up the story. And just like we did when we called for potholes to be fixed in Lagos, we'll do a daily countdown and call on the aviation, you could say the minister and, of course, the body to ensure that we get a response to that. But then again,
our law enforcement is quick.
very
quick.
quick. It can work.
In 24
Yes,
hours.
it was
When
good.
you're
Yes,
taking one way and
it was
abusing
giving
you and hitting your
NYPD
car,
and FBI.
it won't work. Let's go on.
But in
let's
Kwamon, it was giving village police.
Let's
taking
bring
his
our top
time.
stories, Binga. It's my time. Top stories for today, my people. Today on Breakfast Central, we'll be looking at customs as they reinstate 4% import levy amid economic woes. It's a very serious conversation to have. Finally, police extend tinted glass permit enforcement to October the 2nd. Someone is celebrating in the studio here. Police denies torture to Omoyele Sowore. Sowore joins us today, so make sure you tune in. He's going to spill all the truth and what he went through. And Nigerian Correctional Service is in focus. We'll look at that. Don't forget to the newspaper front pages will be up at 9. You can join in by calling and being part of the conversation. Stay with us. The show begins proper.
Welcome back to Breakfast Central. This morning, let's take a look at a policy shift that's already sending shockwaves through Nigeria's auto market. The Nigeria Customs Service has resumed the 4% import levy on goods, and yes, that includes vehicles, for those of you who are planning to buy cars. The 4% import levy is charged on the CIF value costs, insurance, and freight of imported goods. It's part of Nigeria's commitment under the ECOWAS Common External Tariff. This levy has been suspended for months. Its sudden reintroduction without public consultation is raising serious concerns, especially in the auto sector. So,
well, whether you're buying a brand new SUV or a used, like Oliver rightly said, a used Tokumbo sedan, this levy could mean thousands more in cost. And for many Nigerians, car owners are already at a stretch, and it's now looking like getting a car is a luxury. Well, joining us for this discussion is investment bank and public affairs analyst, Dr. Naimeka Obiariri. Thank you so much for being here this morning. I'm sure you did hear of the 4% free on board levy that's made its way back. It was removed in February, especially 2025, early this year, but now it's back. What does this mean for someone like me?
And me.
And me too.
Who's trying to buy one car? what do we do?
It's so shocking. Let me tell you, there is something about the average Nigerian public servants. Like I always say to anybody who gets listed, they are like hirelings who are only after what to fleece, what to steal, what to kill, what to destroy. They are not there to make policies or programs that catalyzes productivity and add value to the average Nigerian. All over the world, governments make policies to protect local industries, to protect the consumers, to protect the people of that geographical expression. You hear Trump, whenever Trump is mentioning tariff, I want to place tariff on China, I want to place tariff on EU, is always with one reason: to protect local industries, because most of the things he's tariffing are things that have competitive productivity within the US. All he's trying to do is to force most of the US companies that have sourced their productivity outside of the US to bring it back home. It's the same thing everywhere. If you go to Vietnam, if you go to Malaysia, if you go to Indonesia, if you go to Malaysia, for example, most of their tariff on imported cars are on luxury cars, high-end cars. In fact, they go as much as 300%. But for the low-end cars, like the Korope, like the buses, like the four-cylinder engine cars, that they know that the common man uses, is practically 2% tariff, 3% tariff, or zero tariff. You know, it's shocking. Let me give you a typical example. Some of us are at the boot of it, by the very special reason of our passion to develop this economy. And I led a group that said to diversify into agriculture, the lowest hanging fruit. And with the club, we did a study. Nigeria is the only place in the whole wide world where we have tractor to arable land mass ratio of one tractor to about 3,000 hectares. In other developed economies that we are imitating, we are trying to imitate, it's always one tractor to 6 hectares of arable land mass. We decided on our own as private sector investors to begin to bring in tractors, to begin to bring in bulldozers, to bring in low bed trucks and buses, and even air-conditioned trucks that will enable us move things and help Nigeria reduce the over 3.5 trillion naira that we have waste every year on post-harvest losses. It will shock you. But you know what we are experiencing? We are bringing in low-bed trucks, we are bringing in air-conditioned buses, and we are asking the climate agent that we want it clear. You know what the guy told us? The guy said that the FOB, that the 4% tariff even applied to those conditioned fridged buses. And you know one thing again, they even told me we were even bringing in used ones, 2015, 2016 model. And they told us that even in the application of the 4% SIF, the customs will look at the history value of a new version of that car. That is what they will apply. Not even what is on your receipt or what's on your invoice. And when I asked him why, he said, "Doctor, the only way out of it is that we have to grease the pump." I said, "Count me out of it." That is the kind of country that we're in. They do not count the cost of productivity and even the issue of vehicles in Nigeria. If you ask the production capacity of Innocent, North, and all the car producing companies in Nigeria, they can only produce from their factories 14,000 trucks and cars and vehicles every year. In Nigeria today, based on our population, we need at least 700,000 articulated buses, cars, and other things to enable Nigerians to reduce the cost of transportation. Which simply means our local production cannot even cover 4% of our demand. This sense entails that in a country where we are mounting productivity, where we want to say we want to diversify the economy from a resource-based one to one where there is productivity that creates jobs, that are you thinking people should be doing even 5% or zero tariff on those things we cannot produce here? Look and behold, we're in a country, in a man's house where the more people have taken over the asylum. And this is why we are where we are today. It's so unfortunate.
Now, Dr. Obiari, so, I mean, you hit the nail on the head by saying that, look, when we even look inwards, this is not about protecting the local automotive industry, which is still in its infancy, and cannot even begin to scratch the demand. You said Innocent, for example, produced 14,000 vehicles last year. Just to give you an example, just to give you the scale of what we're talking about, you mentioned Malaysia. Malaysia is home for producing, they have two automotive companies, Perodua and Proton. The Prime Minister actually uses Perodua car. They produced 378,000 units in 2024 alone and sold over 90% of it. And Proton also produced 152,352 permits. That's why the imports, the import duties on cars in Malaysia, on foreign cars, is very expensive. But when you bring it back home, it seems like, you know, the Nigerian customs and excise are working counterproductive to business and economic growth. They're meant to facilitate trade and businesses, but it seems they're just in for every other time. They're declaring record numbers in revenue generation. Is that their sole purpose? Is that why the Act of Parliament created the Nigerian Customs Service in the first place?
You know, take out time to go and look at the enabling acts that established the Customs and Excise Department. You will see clearly that their activities are totally out of sync with the objectives of the framers of this agency. Now, it brings, when we don't hold our hands, we all keep quiet. And you know the annoying thing, the level of criminality and inefficiency in that department is something that you cannot even quantify. Last week, 2 weeks ago, I did a road trip from Lagos to Benin to Asaba. Of course, the roads are in a terrible, deplorable condition. The way to work. I counted not less than 8 custom checkpoints between Lagos and Asaba alone. When you ask yourself, it's on the wall. As opposed to stay at the bottom edges, at the exit and entry points of any, you will never go into the US or the UK and travel the most developed countries of the world. You will go in, you will travel hundreds of kilometers back through Canada or US. You will never see any customs and border agency department on the road. They are either at the exit point or the entry point. And it shows you the kind of mindset of the human beings we are dealing with. What they are after. And you know, it's interesting that even getting these monies and they are sharing it among the 3 tiers of government and they are using it to uplift the welfare of Nigerians. They share it, they loot it, they pay for it, and they take it out of Nigeria. And nobody is held accountable. I tell you, if you do an audit using the BVN or the average customer office, I will tell you 98% of them will see clearly into malfeasance and monumental corruption. It does from up to the bottom. It is why they do what they do. In fact, if we want to build this economy, a time is come for us to begin to put in place for power and authority. People with the right mindset. You sit down and you ask, let me give you an example. We set up an agro park at Obaru, and I was driving to Obaru to see how the place was doing. And I discovered that Obaru is a center, a city, a community, a local government that had the Niger River flow through it. And I began to think in my head, if we are a country where we have reasonable people leading us across the three channels of government, every channel of the Niger and Benue will be deseated, will be dressed, solar embankment and protection done, because they were even telling about that there are times we cannot farm because of flooding. And in the midst of that problem, I saw an avenue to create deeper blue economy that can give us not less than $25 billion in this economy every year. But our people are not thinking. Those in the power are not thinking. Nobody is thinking about what to do to add value to the average Nigerian. And I want to appeal to Mr. President all over the world. There are the four focus of production: the human capital, which we have in abundance in Nigeria; the land, which nobody can dispute, and there's nothing that is manufactured in the whole world, no matter the sophistication, that does not involve other things on the surface of the earth that has to do with agricultural produce or things beneath that has to do with mineral resources. And then we have capital, which is the fund, but the equipment and machinery. We do not have the technology and the science to produce most of the sophisticated equipment and technology that we need to catalyze productivity in Nigeria. Here is one country where we can produce and export nothing less than $350 billion worth of annual productivity, create over 50 million jobs annually, and improve and take millions of Nigerians out of poverty. We cannot do it without mechanized agriculture, with introducing smart agriculture, without bringing technology. Most of the equipment, from tractors to bulldozers to buses to cars to refrigerated to storage to processing plants, we produce here inside country. Articulated buses, trucks, small cars should have this. What you just do is the same bringing it for what purpose? When we do it, Nigeria can even afford a car. To bring a 25-year-old car into Nigeria today, the lowest of the lowest, even the total cost and this thing will cost you about 7.8 million naira. How many Nigerians can afford 7.8 million naira? If I see the study, across the 1.8 million bank accounts in Nigeria with BVN, about 0.4% has 500,000 deposits in it. In this country today, we have over 1.7 million Nigerians. They do not earn up to $64.5 every month, which is $110 every month. And in all over the world, any person that does not earn up to $100,000 every month is classified as extreme poor and that should be entitled to social welfare interventions. These things are there. These things are clearly there for us to see. Okay. We have leaders and people in the ministries, departments, and agencies like we have in the 60s who think creativity, who thinks passionately, who thinks with professionalism and patriotism. They should be making laws not like this one. What I've done here is simple. Let us keep on taking from them. Let us keep fleecing them. Let us keep killing Nigerians. And I'll tell you, the ripple effect of this what messes most will be so unquantifiable. It will deepen.
All right, let's talk about maybe if there is a positive side to this. The customs, maybe some people would argue that this 4% free on board charge would help the custom be able to do its duty in the sense of tackling corruption, nipping it in the bud, because there have been situations where certain importers underprice or undervalue the products that they're bringing into the country, so that this 4%, free on board allows customs to be the one to value whatever is being brought in, and in that way get the correct value so that people don't hide under the guise of it's a gift, create fake invoices, which have happened in time past, or just sort of reducing how much they bought these properties or these gifts before bringing them into the country. Do you think that this can in any way, that there's a positive side to this in terms of it being used as a tool to fight corruption from fraudulent importers?
And that's the politics. Such thinking and imagination is moronic. Let me tell you, we live in a global village. Only or any of the commercial digital platforms. In Alibaba alone, you have 18,000 load beds, mini load beds of different classes listed. All you need to do is you put the chassis number of those load beds into the system. It will give you, if you look there, it will tell you the average prices of goods and commodities. If you're talking about a 2015 6-truck load bed, 18 tonner, It will show you the average prices. You don't need any importer giving you fake invoice to know the fair value to put any particular goods. If you go to the internet now, whatever goods and services you require, by the time you do 5 minutes session, you will get an average idea of what the average prices of what product, the year, the make, the use is. There's no other sense about it. Excuses that are given are just extremely excuses of normal hirelings skills. As an excuse to kill the sheep, to fleece the sheep, to steal, to kill, and to destroy. There is no reason. You see, look at them. They said they need it to improve the. Let me tell you the truth. Even to protect the borders of Nigeria and stop criminality, we need to digitize operations. We need to automate operations at the constant inside department and other agencies. They're telling you that, oh, we are doing this thing so that we'll start forging invoices. Is thinking like, I don't want to use the word that is in my mind. It's painful. Treason, is good, it's not reliable. If you give me any equipment today, I can give you within the next 3 minutes the intrinsic value of that equipment with an error of less than 5% or 3%. The reasons are not tenable. What they are simply trying to do in their tool, in their style and ways, is just to raise revenues. Things are not meant to raise revenues. We have things we can do in this country to increase productivity and generate less than 350 to 400 in this economy. So sit here now, I can tell you sector to sector, from sector to sector. If we have high-thinking people, all the 20 other times of government, I can show you what we can do. In the next 4 years, we will grow our GDP to not less than 20% GDP growth per annum without putting borders on Nigeria. What do you want to do to generate revenue in this country?
Dr. Biari,
if you go to the ministries, once you bring the proposal, remove the problems and problems, then do we pay from it? Do we make money from it?
Dr. Biari, I just want to quickly, I want your thoughts on a set of questions, and I would like if you could be brief about it. I mean, I could also tell how unhappy you are with this policy. Point number one, Cars Nation, online, an automobile sales dealer who imports vehicles, has gone on to say that the cost of clearing a vehicle, or actually clearing a vehicle, might shoot up from 5 million to 15 million because of this policy, this tax, this 4% FOB. Now, that's one. Secondly, I'm sure that the customs, which is true, the Nigerian Customs Service, also gets budget from the every year, especially from the federal government. I checked and I saw that they have about 1.32 trillion naira this year in the fiscal policy. They have 1.32 trillion naira, and 2020 they had 238 billion naira. So if they have budgets every year and then they are introducing this 4%, how do we juxtapose the fact that they do have budget to run their office, but yet it seems like they still need to get money from importers who definitely help the economy to keep growing faster? How do you explain this, especially as a financial expert?
Let me tell you this. 1% of 1 trillion naira is better than 10% of 1 billion naira. Customs, if they are very efficient, if the operations efficiency at the port of Nigeria is what it should be, Nigeria should actually be a transshipment hub for the rest of Sub-Saharan Africa, Niger, Benin Republic, Burkina Faso, Mali, and other parts of Africa, those that are landlocked. Because we have the economy of scale, we have over 800-kilometer coastal line, deep waters. Nigeria can actually do almost about 30 to 50 ports if we have projects and programs that makes us very efficient. I say this and I say it again for anybody who cares to listen. Benin Republic and Togo are officially existing as countries because of economies flowing from Nigeria. Quoting Donald Trump, If Nigeria was supposed to play what we're supposed to play, by now, the Republic and Togo will be the 37th and the 38th countries of Nigeria. Because our inefficiencies is what is boosting those economies. If we decide to put efficiency at the post center of Nigeria, if we decide to remove corruption and put in place digital systems that remove these things, we will now be a transshipment hub for the rest of Sub-Saharan Africa and those in landlocked areas. If, for example, now we are having inflows of about $200 billion, shipment coming through our ports because we have removed the layers of corruption, we've introduced efficiency and everything, and we put 10% on it. Like those being shipped, 10% of $200 billion will cover 3 times some of the budgets they are given. The problem we have with the cost inside department, just like we have with those in Abuja, nobody's thinking about how do we sit down to bake and make the bread bigger. Everybody's just thinking about how we will squeeze and distill from the little that is, how we can have a huge chunk from the little that is there. Here is the problem. I sit here and I can tell you how we can build a $27 billion annual blue economy. I have it on in Singapore. 721 square miles land mass. Singapore even import sand to protect their shoreline. Singapore every year makes $25 billion from the blue economy. A country that has less than 721 square kilometer land mass. And look at Nigeria, 100-kilometer coastal line. We have rivers that flow from the north all the way to the Atlantic. We are not even seeing it that clear that we can build a $100 billion economy from that sector alone. That is the problem. We do not have thinkers. We do not have creative imaginators. We do not have honest patrons in the place of power and authority across the public sectors. And that is why we are where we are. We have this little might mentality, not the mentality of the lion. And that's the problem.
All right. That would, I mean, it's been quite a conversation here. And I mean, I remember seeing a tweet where someone said, those of you who are planning to buy cars, buy it tomorrow or the day after, because after then, it's all over. Nigerians can barely afford to buy foreign used cars now. I mean, brand new cars.
And even,
really
locally produced cars are still very expensive.
Yeah, Punch put out a statement, the Punch newspaper put out a statement over the weekend, I think it was on Friday or so, that the search for Nigerian used cars has gone up. And Nigerian used cars, the prices are now exactly the same price of the Tokumbo, the same price that it used to be just
and the made in Nigeria cars are also beyond the reach of many ordinary
average Nigeria.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Anyway,
Dr. Nameka Ogari, thank you for joining us this morning. It's always a delight to have you.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Okay, you might not be able to buy a car, but you are alive.
But I really hope they have a rethink of this policy, because I mean it's
so in fairness, some people are saying in fairness to them, which of course I do not see the fairness as a citizen. They're saying because the Nigerian Customs Service had initially removed a 1% from a tax that people were paying for, and then another 7%, which total would accrue to about 8% tax, that they are taking it out before they had enforced this FOB last year, April 2003, I beg your pardon, not last year, 2023, just before President Tinubu, sent it to office. And then they stopped it, and then they reintroduced it. They were planning to reintroduce it again early this year in February. And because of the importers, these ones, they came out and said, if you do it, it's going to be tough.
Yeah, they need to. I mean, in taking decisions, you have to consult widely and speak to all the stakeholders in the industry. What effects
Don't forget the floating of the naira too.
Exactly.
The floating of the naira.
And removal of subsidy.
Yeah.
Nigerians are dealing with all of this, and then you want to introduce this. So in everything we do, let's always apply the principle.
And let's not forget too that the dollar exchange rate. So there's floating of naira, there's dollar exchange rate, and all of that. So this is coming at a very tough time.
Yeah,
people already have their containers. Yeah. Those who have already paid, some of these guys get their containers like years before it comes. Are you trying to say that when it comes, you'd stop their container, and
imagine
therefore
people
they have
that
to
have
now
been saving all these
years
to buy a car, and then all of a sudden the price.
6 million.
You know how frustrating it is that if I look at some years back, the car that I liked.
Even
that
some
I
few
could not
weeks
afford.
back that you went to window shop.
I went to window shop.
You think that car
That
would
was-
remain the same price?
I just went to go and window shop, and even the car that I saw, I still could not afford that one. So now I even wonder what is going
People
to
are not
happen.
buying cars anymore. Everyone is fixing their car. They're rebranding their cars.
Beyond even
Changing the
rebranding their cars,
chairs.
what they're doing is they're waiting for people that want to jackpot that are doing distress sales. So they can buy from the people that want to jackpot. But you may not have car, but you have hope.
I mean, the
And
federal
when they-
government has turned all of us to 50 cents. Girl, you a window shopper. I'm looking at myself like 20 cents right now.
Or you mean 5 cents?
5 cents.
Come on, you're a big boy. Come on.
Okay, let's share with you what's coming up this morning on Breakfast Central. Coming up next, police extend tinted glass permits enforcement to October 2nd, and police denies torturing Omoyele Sowore. They defend the arrest. He'll be joining us to share his side of the story. Experts worry over deteriorating standards of education in Nigeria. Stay with us.
The Nigerian Police Force recently announced that the deadline for verifying and issuing tinted glass permits has been extended to the 2nd of October. That's nearly 2 months of added time. But for many Nigerians, it's 2 more months of uncertainty, fear, and potential harassment.
The original deadline had already sparked concerns, especially with reports of motorists being stopped, questioned, and in some cases, allegedly extorted, despite having factory-fitted tinted windows or valid documentation. Now, let's be clear. Tinted glass permits were suspended back in 2021 due to security reasons, but the reintroduction of the verification process has been anything but smooth. The online portal, often inaccessible, the physical verification centers overwhelmed, and the criteria still murky. Joining us for this discussion is the CEO of AutoSecure, a leading voice in automobile safety and documentation across Nigeria and Africa, Mr. Timileyin. So, good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Is that the complete surname? So there's nothing coming after
Are you
that?
talking about something?
So who is the main character?
Yeah, so let's leave it at
The main
Somo.
character, so
So,
Pay the money.
nice to meet you, Mr.
Yeah,
Sowore.
Great to have you join us.
So
Breakfast
this
Central.
tinted permit issue has been one that has, been a cause of concern for Nigerians for the longest times. The citizens would argue that police have used it as an opportunity to extort unsuspecting citizens. Now the deadline has been shifted to October 2nd. Do you think that this is enough time? Are you in support of that?
So I think it's enough time. And one of the things that really led to the moving it again was the fact that I don't know why Nigerians like to do last minute. The last minute, like before now, like a week ago or 2 weeks ago, the portal was smooth and it was smooth. People were applying and they were able to get their permits and all. But when a portal has been working efficiently since the day it was launched, then it reaches 24 hours to the deadline or 48 hours to the deadline, then everybody's trying to apply at the same time. But I mean, the IGB decided to okay, you know what? A lot of people are still having issues, one issue or the other. There are some things that I feel like that was also not captured for them to be able to make that process seamless. So I think they decided to move it. I think, for instance, now there are some vehicles that don't have, their chassis number doesn't have, 18 digits. Some have 17 digits, some has lower. you know, there are some of these issues that came up that, you know, because of that, they decided to like, let's extend it. And a lot of people have still not done it. And the whole essence of the TINS permit is not to extort citizens. The essence of the TINS permit is to ensure that every vehicle that has a TINS on it is captured in the police database. So that rather than them stopping you and having to harass you, that what exactly is wrong with you? Why you have stated your reason. And from afar, when they see a vehicle with a TINS permit, from the plate number, they can tell who exactly is in that vehicle and who owns that vehicle and who's driving with this kind of. So if a crime was committed with it, from the plate number, they can get any information about the vehicle.
Can they get the information about you with or without the TINS permit? Like once they see a plate number, shouldn't they be able to get like...
Do they even have the device to check and see if you have a TIN permit by looking at your plate number?
It's obvious. Well, now with what is being implemented, have you seen the process of the TIN permit verification? They'll get your TIN number. Sorry, they'll get your NIN number or your TIN number or your BVN, whatever it is. They're going to do a biometric capturing of your face to be sure that it was you, like it's the same person. They'll do like a biometric capturing of you. They will get all the details about you. They will get the medical report that states the reason why you are using it and all. So with this information, I mean, when you got your plate number, let's be honest, when plate number was issued to you, a lot of all these data were not captured. Yeah. So now this is extra information. You know, there's a bigger problem, but let's not even go into the bigger problem of why this whole document thing is not centralized.
Okay.
But police needs their own data, and they need to get their data. They will not wait to
need their own data.
Why should data? Can you kindly? So I have two questions here.
Yeah.
The rationale behind the police and this TIN permit, is it the biggest security problem we have in the country right now? And why should it even cost so much to capture my data? Because this is extra money that is coming out of Nigerians. Yeah. So those two questions.
Well. Why should police get your data? Police is a security...
No, TINS permit.
Okay, TINS permit.
Yeah, so, why is it a big deal? We live in the tropics.
Can you remember...
One of the reasons why people get tints is because of the intensity of the sun. It's very hot, and you don't want people to combust in their car. So people get tints to reduce the UV rays and the intensity of the sun. And also, some cars just come factory fitted. So why is it a problem for the police that people need to get a permit in order to... It's like saying you get an engine permit or you get a wiper permit. That's how it seems to some people.
Okay. So
all right, before you answer, let's go on a very quick break. And when we come back, we'll have more on this conversation. Please stay with us.
All right.
Welcome back to Breakfast Central. Now we're looking at the TINS permit, and that has the deadline that has been extended to the 2nd of October. And we're joined by Mr. Omoyele Sowore. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
Now, Omoyele, before I went on the break, I said, what's the rationale behind the Nigerian police decision to enforce this TIN permit?
Okay.
Because we live in the tropics, and is it the biggest security threat in Nigeria at the moment?
So can you remember when Wiki decided that, okay, you know what, because of the security threats in Abuja, nobody should drive with tint again because of the kidnapping.
One chance
that was happening in Abuja. I mean, it affected people that were using it for the right reasons, because at that point in time, it was like a state of emergency. You know what? We want to see who is inside the vehicle, because there were lots of incidents, and a lot of them were, the car was tinted, and they were just, you know. So now, rather than causing that kind of, those kind of issues, they decided that, you know what, let us bring back the tint, but this time around, we need to ensure that there are strict laws that are guiding you being able to use the tint. Like, we have to be sure of who is actually driving with the tint permits. You see, the big problem is that in Nigeria, plate number is supposed to be like an ID card. It's supposed to be something that you can use in knowing who is in the vehicle. But that thing there are lots of people that will buy cars now and they buy cars and they are still using that same plate number from, you don't even know. There are cars that you've sold that you don't even know where the plate number is. Somebody's using it somewhere for different reasons. And that is why now it's now being mandatory that you will now see your plate number and know that this is your ID card. And that is why this extra information is being collected.
So shouldn't this be done by the Vehicle Registration people, FRC or some other government agency? Why the police?
See, if we go into that, I will tell you that customs in the first place should not even, any kind of doesn't have custom duty, should not even be able to get a plot number in the first place. They will now say that FRS should be able to ensure that their data is centralized enough so that the police can access it. But at this point, there's a lot of things constitutionally that needs to happen for that to be able to take effect. But the police will not wait for that before they can actually say that, okay, police is security. They need data to ensure the safety and the security of people in Nigeria. And because of that, all they can do is to say that, you know what, we need our own data. Let's get our own data while all these things is being done.
All right. Let's move away from the aspect of the police. I mean, let them do their job. Let's look at the average Nigerian who, yesterday I had someone send me a DM and say, please, can you send me the link? Let me quickly do it. And I said, okay. So I had to point to your page to them. I said, listen, follow Timmy. Timmy will give you all the information you need about it because he's been following it judiciously. But then again, as a Nigerian, what are the things that a Nigerian needs to do now? If you're driving a car and your car is tinted, what are the steps you need to take quickly to get the papers, documents
Walk us
needed?
through the process.
The process. And so
Olive's
everybody knows
Maserati.
what they need to do.
So, visit the website.
What did you say?
Olive's Maserati, she wants to get it in.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Thank you.
It's straightforward. It's straightforward. And unlike before, where you need to contact an agent to do something, and that's what I just decide to do on my own page. Like, let me tell a Nigerian, you can do this yourself. You can do it at home.
Okay.
You know, visit the website, posap.gov.ng. Once you get to that website, posap, P-O-S-A-P. Yeah, posap.gov.ng. When you get to the website, the first thing you need to do is register on the website. While you are registering, it's going to ask for your name and your NIN details, NIN, BVN. If it's a company vehicle, you use the TIN of that vehicle.
Okay.
You know, you register. Once after your registration, you are making a new request. Your new request is going to be a way in which you're going to insert all the details of your vehicle in the color and
chassis
all.
number.
So now something has changed, which shows that that process is being, I mean, the economics of the process is being
verified.
Yeah. So the verification process used to be, okay, you have to bring the vehicle so that we'll confirm the VIN number, that you're the one driving with this particular VIN number. So now what they're now doing now is that there's now a VVS process where you just once you insert your chassis number into that portal, they bring out all the history of that particular vehicle.
Wow, technology.
Yeah. Technology. They bring out the history of that particular vehicle, you know, at an extra fee, 1,000 something. Do you get? So now you don't have to.
91,000 will be paid by
1 million
20
pieces.
million people, and how much?
Are you not happy that you don't have to go for physical verification for less than 2,000 naira?
He's saying that before you have to drive your car.
You have to drive
there.
to the state SID office for physical verification. Now,
are you talking of for
tinted permit now.
Okay.
You have to go for so now they pick out the data. It brings out the chassis number of that your vehicle, bring out the history of that vehicle, and after that you insert all your details. Then the next thing is you make the payments, 14,000 around.
rich kids only.
Almost 15K.
How
Yeah.
much is
So the total.
How much did I buy the car that I'm paying for?
Another thing is that
Olive.
another thing is that
Maserati we're talking
if
about here, you know.
there are three conditions for
Okay.
applying for the TINS permits.
Okay.
Security grounds, health grounds, and if it's factory fitted. If it's factory fitted,
Security, health, factor.
Does it affect the prices?
it doesn't. It's the same price.
Okay.
But the thing is that if you are applying on health ground, you need a medical report
Yeah,
that
you have to
states
upload it.
that will tell us what exactly is
Don't
wrong with
worry,
your
we
head.
Not just your eyes.
Uh-huh.
Maybe you are allergic to heat.
Exactly.
Don't like heat.
But you
As
need
in-
medical report to support
You
that.
need it.
But for we here on Breakfast Central, it's
security
usually
reasons.
security reasons, you know,
Yeah,
because
celebrities,
imagine a Johan driving down.
Exactly.
All
So
your
security-
fans are just going to be, they can mob him.
So
You understand?
exactly. So on security grounds you just need the supporting documents. Maybe you on TV, show you what you do, showing the risk and all. So you can apply on that. And then if it's just factory fitted, I don't know, I bought my car like that and I don't want to remove my glass, you can apply without adding any other thing. Just show a proof that that car came with the factory fitted.
So from now till the 2nd of October,
extended now.
Yeah, exactly, because it's been extended.
Yeah.
Are we expecting to see the Nigerian police stopping and searching people and asking them for tinted permits?
No.
Because that's where the challenge is.
I saw yesterday.
I remember.
I told him yesterday. Yesterday I saw them. The cars were lined up. My problem is my dashboard camera isn't working any longer, and I'll come to you.
We have to
by the
release
way.
that,
We have to
please.
agree. We have to.
Oh yeah,
get
no,
one.
come.
And I was like, what? I wish I could wind down and tell everybody in their cars, dude, it has been postponed, don't do anything. But good question.
The enforcement was supposed to even start today, not yesterday now.
Exactly, yesterday.
No, they are
But
being
the first
proactive.
time that it was
They were.
announced, Joe also saw some officers
also saw them
lining
too.
people up
They are
and
very
asking for
proactive.
this.
Very proactive.
So, I mean, a message to Nigerian citizens in terms of knowing their rights in this regard, as well as the Nigerian police.
So you see, the thing is, I'm not a police officer, I'm in Nigeria. But you see, one of the things that made me actually take interest in police and some of their cars and all is the fact that I've realized that, I mean, I've been to the police headquarters a couple of times, and you see, what the police looks like at that level is different from what the police looks like on the road.
ground.
Even police is scared of police. Even police is scared of the police. And one of the reasons why it was postponed is because, hey, even they fear their boys, say, this thing,
They've given them
once we
food.
start, it be like say, we won't give these people food, though. And they are listening, they are watching, they are watching, and they are seeing that it's like there's still a lot of issues. A lot of people have still not registered for this
And
thing.
they're working on it,
and
on
they're
improving
working
the
on
process,
it.
yeah.
And I feel like that is commendable. That is it's really commendable, and it's saying that we are not at the level at which it used to be. Look at the physical verification. When the physical verification started, there was a lot of people come and meet me. I'll tell them, okay, I'll tell them, oh, the state CID or SID office you should go and all. And we still get issues. They'll get there. They'll say, those people charge me extra. Oh, it is not free there. Oh. That's what the police is trying to do. The police is trying to make money from that physical verification. That's the whole. And they were, and this, because of that, they said, you know what process are we going to, what can we put in place to ensure that we don't have to
Limit human interaction.
limit human interaction. And that is why we are where we are. So, but the only thing I would tell Nigerians is that enforcement is starting October 2. It doesn't necessarily mean that you should register for tinted permit on October 1st.
As we usually like.
And then which one have to do? So,
Because-
the number of Nigerian car owners in comparison to the population is minute. Then the number of Nigerian car owners with tints in comparison with the entire population is also minute. So why is this priority? Why is this an issue? Shouldn't the focus be on intelligent gathering? Who told you that all the criminals have cars? There are criminals that use bicycle to rob. So, I mean, you don't speak, I'm not sure I'm even directing the question to the right quarters. You don't work for the Nigerian police, but I mean, as a crime, as somebody that your business has to do with crime, are we not making too much of a big deal out of this tint permit?
So I really don't think so. I really don't think so because 80%, I don't have the statistics, but what I can say is that most crimes are being, it's being followed by something. Something will take them to the location where the crime happened. And most of the time, most of them will happen with the car. Not with, we know there's one for bike.
The guy that jumped inside bank the other day.
He
uses Lego.
I take reach the bag. I take reach the bag from your house. Don't be carry go there.
So the key line, I mean, as we look to wrap up this conversation, the bottom line is it has been extended.
Yeah.
Nigerians can go to, you said,
posap.gov.ng
to ensure that you get your cars, you get the documentation for having a tint permit, and also they shouldn't wait till last minute.
No, wait till last minute. It doesn't.
Okay.
And October 1st is Independence Day anyway. It's a public holiday, so you just be wasting your time.
Okay. I think my final question, on a final note, because like you've said and like they've inferred, the reason for the tinted, permit is to ensure the safety and security of Nigerians, right? In some cases, to ensure that they reduce the incidence of crime. What should the average Nigerian think of when they're thinking of a starter pack to get safety for their cars and for themselves?
Yeah.
Oh, so thank you. So there are some peculiarities of driving in Nigeria, and it's different from driving anywhere in the world. So you're getting your car, there are some certain things that is expected for you to have, even so that when anything happens, there's an evidence. One of it is ensure you have a car tracker in your car. You're driving in Nigeria. Another thing is, a car tracker, something goes wrong in your car, you can stop it from anywhere you are in the world. You can even listen to conversations going on in that vehicle and all. It's very important, even for logistic reasons. Another thing is the dashboard camera. Dashboard camera captures what is happening inside, outside your vehicle, and around your vehicle. So sometimes it might not even be for your own. It might even be for somebody else. Like something was happening.
Being a witness, yeah.
You are being harassed on the road and all. You have something that is always with you. That's what the dashboard camera is all about. There are other security gadgets you can also get for your car, like a glass protection anti-smash. That one is like a screen guard.
It's like a tint, right?
Yeah.
Anti-smash, so that all those people that used to break your window in traffic.
Exactly.
Nice.
So it doesn't necessarily mean your glass cannot break, but it gives it an extra layer of strength, and it gives you a fighting chance to survive when you get into, a lot of these things happen now, like there are some roads in Nigeria that is known for, they just break in.
Yeah,
so
smash and grab.
Yeah, smash and grab. So why was the glass designed like that? The people that designed it for emergency purposes, like to ensure that, okay, you know what, when that's supposed to be your emergency exit in case of an accident and all, But because of the peculiarity of our country, because of the peculiarity of Nigeria, this is needed. It is needed because now there's a security threat and a lot of people are taking advantage of it in traffic and all. So these are things that, when you get a car in Nigeria, there are stuff that you must ensure that you have.
I'm going to get all of that. And I appreciate your honesty, Joe. You said something about the car smashing protection.
Yeah.
He said, the car can still break, the windows can still break, but it gives you an extra layer. And I've seen videos on Instagram where they will just be hitting it gently. So
when I'm hitting it on Instagram, I will eat it till I break it. So you would not say they break.
Exactly. Don't. Yeah. So I appreciate your honesty.
Well, if we were to do a survey on this to see how many people have these things that he has mentioned to secure our cars. Joe was just showing me here his car tracker and where his car is.
I've been beaten now.
But some of us, I know,
I have one of my cars stolen.
Yeah, his car was stolen.
I've also had a car stolen.
Yeah.
Hey?
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Why am I co-hosting with two people that have their cars stolen?
Please, both of you are close to people who have lost their cars.
Please, I beg.
It's a big threat. It's a big threat, and a lot of people don't even look at it. But until the victims are the ones that know, people they're still stealing cars.
Wow.
But the way you can avoid being your car stolen is by Cybertruck.
They guys, okay. And with the 4% FOB, I think we're going to see an increase in car theft.
We are going to. That's another thing to look out for.
If you cannot buy, you steal. Please, don't steal. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you so much.
We just go old model.
No, let's move on to another conversation. We're out of time for this conversation, but we hope to have Mr. Timileyin Sanwo to join us for
CEO
other conversations around. Yeah. But Nigeria's classrooms are at a crossroads, from undertrained teachers to overcrowded and poorly equipped learning spaces. The quality of education is raising serious concern. Experts warn that without urgent action, the gap between Nigerian schools and global education standards will only widen. News Central's correspondent Sumaya Abubakar brings us more in this report.
In schools across the country, teachers are expected to deliver quality education with limited resources and little support. At the same time, students are battling poor facilities, outdated methods, and a system struggling to adapt to modern learning needs.
Our curriculum is a fantastic curriculum, especially when it comes to the sciences, when it comes to mathematics. I can give it to Nigeria. Nigerian math is very rigorous, and many countries come to seek that rigorousness that our math teachers have. So what's going on wrong?
A learning cancer to have taken place if teaching has not taken place, meaning you can only say you have taught when there is an outcome on the part of the learners.
We haven't, for decades, invested adequately to train our teachers and put the right infrastructure in place, and of course also to pay competitive remuneration that will attract great minds into the teaching profession.
And while teachers struggle to meet expectations in difficult conditions, students are paying the price, their classroom experience now far from what it should be.
We're talking about a country where you have about 50 million children in the school system, and you have just a few thousand who are doing well. So you can't be proud of that.
We're not moving with the times. We're not learning new strategies. Children are global now. Their minds are all over the place. They're not that rigid children that only know what is coming out in the textbooks.
Where there are no chairs, no tables, and then the class is overcrowded. He has to, start going in between students to reach the board. Psychologically, they are all affected, both the students and the teachers.
But experts insist these challenges, though serious, are not impossible to overcome if the right reforms are made and sustained by government.
You can never pay a teacher well enough, because a teacher either makes you or breaks you. And if you have quality teachers, invest in them, and then there should be this private-public partnership. Every private school should take on a public school.
Moving forward, I think we need to recognize that teachers should be front and center when we're discussing national development, especially as we recognize the indispensable place of good quality education in moving a country such as ours forward.
Nigeria's education system is at a turning point. Continue on the current path and the gaps will keep widening, or take bold steps now to rebuild its foundation. For many experts, the choice is clear and the time to act is now. In Abuja, for News Central, Sumaya Abubakar.
Hello, welcome back to Breakfast Central. Last week, the convener of the Revolution Now movement, Omoyele Sowore, was arrested and detained by the Nigerian police on allegations bordering on forgery and cyberstalking. Before his release on Friday, Mr. Sowore accused the Nigerian police of breaking his right wrist in detention, demanding an apology and urgent medical care.
However, the Nigerian police force dismissed allegations that the activist Omoyele Sowore was illegally arrested or tortured in custody. But let's take a look at this video, then we'll come back and go straight into the conversation.
What should have been done is what they don't know what to do, which is to swallow their pride, release me from detention, apologize to me, and ensure that I can go for proper treatment. But they want to hide it. Since I came here yesterday, they broke my hand. They have not been able to bring a doctor. They went and brought a nurse. Instead of them bringing a doctor, they went and brought the media now. This is all part of the nonsense of IG and
just based on
all these foolish people agreeing with Nigeria.
Based on the request
and
from
I hope that you can take the material
based on
nobody requested for media. They are the ones who brought it. And I was expecting it, and I've been expecting it.
Hold on, please.
Well, joining us to address matters surrounding his arrest is the convener of the Revolution Now movement, Mr. Omoyele Sowore, who's live with us via video conferencing. It's good to see you looking well rested and possibly in good health, I want to believe. How's your right wrist, if I may ask?
Well, I've been treating my hand since I got out of detention on Friday. So, the struggle doesn't end with people like us. Soon I'm going to be on my way to another protest over the youth call lady who was denied her discharge certificate. So I'm always ready.
I'm hoping that we can have some time to talk about that, because we've seen that you've announced that there will be a protest at 9 a.m. this morning in Abuja regarding Miss Rita Uche. Okay, but now let's come back to talk about your arrest. Lead us through the details of what happened. There have been allegations of cyberstalking. Where were you? How did this happen? And how did you get into police detention?
Well, I was invited by the police last week. They claimed that there were some petitions against me over allegations of cyberstalking and forgery. So initially, the first letter was not cyberstalking. It said it's forgery and it's citing disturbance. And I was asked to appear based on a non-existent law, which was the Administration of Criminal Justice Act 2025. So I wrote back to them to say, well, these laws don't exist and there's no offense known as inciting disturbance. And at any rate, if you're inviting me, can I have the petitions in advance? They wrote back and said they won't release the petitions in advance, but they changed the letter. And apparently we also requested for a change of date for yesterday. But when they replied, they said they can't wait till Monday, yesterday, we should come immediately. So on Wednesday, I drove there by myself, took my detention traveling bag, and we got to the team that was supposed to interrogate, and it didn't take quite 5 seconds before everything degenerated. They didn't have any valid reason for the invitation. They said the two petitions were written by the IG's office. And I made it clear to them that the IG has no right to be using his office to prosecute his enemies or whoever he thinks he wants. It's actually against the Police Act. So they immediately asked me to write a statement. I also educated them that I have a right to write a statement or remain silent, and I'm opting for silence. But at any rate, they had videos running. I said, you can take my statement from the video, transcribe it, and use it for whatever you want to do. So, because it was pre-planned, they opted to detain me. And then they showed me from afar a detention order that they said they obtained from a magistrate court. And it was there that I saw cybercrime as the main reason for my arrest and detention. So they declared my arrest after I opted not to write a statement. And that was the beginning of what played out the whole of last week for 48 hours.
Now, Mr. Sowore, let's talk about the nature of the allegations against you. The police claim they acted on credible allegations and that investigations are ongoing. Can you tell us what exactly you've been accused of, whether you have seen the petitions at this point in time or evidence being relied upon, and why you believe these charges are or not politically motivated?
So there should be two petitions. One was from, like I said, they're both written by the IGP's admin office, which in itself is a bogey. Then secondly, I saw the first one was they claimed that I forged a police wireless document. And when we asked them for the original, they showed it to us and they were the same, other than the fact that there was panic written over the one they claimed was forged. So they quickly put them together and ran away with that one. The second one was written by the PSO to the IGP, the one lady, Bukola Yemisi Kuti, who was one of the ladies that claimed Sahara reporters cyberstalked her by revealing that she was the IG's mistress. That was the second petition. And I told them that since this was against Sahara reporters, there's nowhere could be held responsible, accountable for what Sahara reporters did, because it's a separate entity from myself, even though I founded it some 19 years ago. So it was obvious that they couldn't sustain those two things, and then just so that they can cover up this particular flaw, the next day they came with 3 different more petitions and said they were written by lawyers. I think they want to recruit some lawyers to write fresh petitions against me because they realized that this can't hold up anymore. But that was after they had invaded my cell at 6 a.m. and broken my hand with 8 policemen led by a CSP. So I was detained that night, and then the next morning, 6 a.m., they came to my detention cell. Very terrible detention, by the way. One of the most terrible I've been in a long time. And they said, we're going to court at 6 a.m. And I said, this is kind of very suspicious. A court in Abuja that's more than 20 minutes away from here. So why don't we wait till about 8 a.m.? So they descended on me with all these policemen. Forced me, I didn't have any clothes on. I insisted I must put on my clothes. They said, no, you can't put on your clothes. And they started dragging me and twisting my hand. That was where I sustained a hand injury. And eventually drove me to another facility, the place they call Abatio, detained me there until Friday, when eventually they came and released me on bail.
Wow. Seems like there's a lot that happened between that period. But there's a back and forth. Your lawyers say that they broke your arm. The police have put out their own statement saying that they did not. I think you've painted a picture of how it happened, maybe due to the dragging of back and forth to a place you say they called abattoir, and that's where they took you to. But all of this, what's actually the need or the push for the police to actually arrest you? Is this as a result of the fact that you have stood out to fight for former police officers citing their pension having been paid? Or is it because you were engaged in a protest prior to this where you had called the IGP to quit because you say he is not your IGP? What do you think is really the reason behind all of these arrests?
I think it's a combination of my opposition to impunity in the country, but I think the IGP, the person who I refuse to accept as my IG, as you said, has taken it personal. And this is what's wrong with Nigeria, where you have people who don't even understand their role in society, just assuming responsibilities that are bigger than their mind or their capacity. So that's what is known as mediocrity. Don't forget that in January, February, he also got me arrested and detained me for 4 days for calling him illegal IG. And because of that, my passport has been seized by him and the Federal High Court in Abuja. And when I went for the protest for police well-being, serving and retired policemen, they also stole my glasses. And today I have not returned it. So it's a continuation of that particular. I think it's just part of his personal vendetta agenda to continue this. If you look at even the charges or the arrest, if someone is not a flight risk, you've already seized my passport. And you know I won't run away from anybody in this country. Even when I leave Nigeria, I have a case, I'll fly back and attend to my cases. That's been the tradition. What is the essence of the arrest? But I think in their mind, they feel like, okay, we have to solve the Sowore problem. And that was where this last one came from. And to be honest, the way they treated me when they invaded my cell, I was thinking, oh my goodness, this might be a Steve Biko type of experience where this guy switches either kill me or break my spinal cord. But because they were really very ruthless. And
let's dig into that.
Acting on their instruction.
Let's dig into that a little, how they treated you in your cell. You talked about a number of people, I think about 8 or 9 heavily armed officers. You shared that on X, but can you give us a picture of what exactly happened on the morning that they invaded your cell?
So they sent the cell guard. Typically when you are in a cell, there's a guy who is known as a cell guard. He holds the key to the cell, or the keys to the cell. And he's usually the person who comes to talk to you if there's need or he checks on you. The cell guard shows up at 5 something and he says, your IPO is here. You are going to court. So I told him to go and call the IPO. He says to me, no, the IPO doesn't come near the cell. But that's not true. If there's anybody that frequents a police cell, is the IPO handling a case or an accused person. So I knew at that point that something was wrong. And then next I saw the cell guard opens the cell and they just rushed in, 8 of them. And it was led by this CSP. I've put out his picture now since Sunday. And he was just backing orders at me. And of course, I said, you can't be backing orders at me if we are going to court. We are not going to a military tribunal. Even if it's a military tribunal, I'm still entitled to contact my lawyers. Of course, he gets really, really upset. And he was backing orders, he was cursing. He said that we know you are very stubborn. They have said this, but this is it. We are not going to let this continue. This started, and then he kept ordering the 2 uniform mopo to carry him, twist, beat him, and then those ones and then at the point when they then realized that I was injured, the 2 of them asked him to calm down, and then they took my shirt and wore it for me. because he knew I was injured. And at that point, but so I told the two who were putting on my shirt for me to let me brush my teeth. This guy returns again with fury. He said, "No, you are not brushing your teeth. No room for that." So he then again asked them to force me out of the cell. So they started pushing. Shoving me with my injury, and then they took me, went in two cars to Hilos car. We was sitting right in front of me in Hilos car. We found that took us to Abattoir. So when he got to Abattoir, he continued. And he was probably shocked that when he got to Abattoir, the ones there probably haven't understood the consequences of what they've done. Just stood aside. And I told those ones, I said, this guy has broken my hand. But they were like junior officers. And it was very early in the morning. So they took me to be detained in the cell. It was from there that I got myself treated. And what then got most upset was that I was treated, and that I had a picture of myself in the public domain, in bandage. That was what they then got upset at, and they were looking for how did he get himself treated, and how did he get pictures of his bandage out there, because it was causing, according to them, public outrage.
Now, Mr. Sowore, finally, just before we let you go, let's talk about your legal and political next steps. Now that you're out on bail, what are your immediate plans, both legally and politically? Will you be pursuing legal redress against the Nigerian police for the way you were wrongfully treated in detention? And how do you intend to continue your activism in light of these new charges? Like you said, you're still going out on the streets today.
We filed fundamental rights enforcement over this, what is known as FREP. It's a lawsuit to enforce my rights. But if I'm sitting here telling you that I believe in the judicial system to protect me, I'll be lying to you. But we take these steps for historical reasons. So we filed FREP. They also have filed charges. And they contacted me yesterday that I was supposed to be called to face these charges. So I'm likely to leave from this protest to the Federal High Court to face those charges. I'm not afraid of these charges. I know nothing will come out of it. This is completely done to harass and try to silence me. But I'm not the kind of person they can silence. And it's important to let Nigerians know that this will be the fourth time I'll be charged with cybercrime since it was established. I'm probably the only Nigerian that has been charged under the Cybercrime Act for the highest number of times. I was charged by Buhari in 2019 for cybercrime. I was charged by Senator Nedwoko, I think in 2021. I was charged by this IGP in 2025 for cybercrime, and I'm facing a fresh one again. So it's nothing new. But like you know, we have a protest this morning at the NYC Secretariat in Abuja to try and help Rita Ushi get her discharge certificate. So I'll be heading down there. My political work is not going to be affected by harassment. I want people to know that this comes. They should understand that this comes with the territory of my activism, anyways. So it is expected that they will do this and they will do more.
Mr. Sowore, I mean, looking at our time, we're almost out of time for this conversation. But quickly, you said you're stepping out for a mild protest for Ray, the lady who didn't get her NYC certificate. What's your take on that?
Well, she's concluded her NYC and she deserves that certificate. You've seen the position of the NYC that they said she didn't do one clearance in April, but that particular clearance she went for, but they wouldn't accept it because they had planned this outcome after she spoke up against the president's President Tinubu's disastrous economic policy that's brought hunger and starvation and hardship on the people. So that's what they're punishing her. This is not about that 1 month failure to do her clearance according to them. It's a retaliation for her spoken position against the government. Everybody who knew about her case is aware of this. So they can't fool us with this. So that's why she must be given. And don't forget that this is the fourth time the NYC, or even more, but publicly Bamidele Aturu was denied his NYC certificate because he was against the government. In those days, he refused to shake hands with the military governor of Niger State. Even Femi Falana, SAN, it took 18 years before he got his NY certificate from the Oputa panel. That was where his NY certificate was released to him. My NY certificate has not been released to me since I finished my service in 1996. So with this is a fourth politically motivated seizure of NYC discharge certificate. That we must end it and have that reform that people who are in service are not in enslavement. They should be able to speak their mind about their country. That is, in my view, the real service to the nation.
All right. Thank you so much for your time, and we look forward to speak with you again. Thanks for spending time with us this morning.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning. All right, so that does it for our second hour here on Breakfast Central. We'll go on a quick break. When we come back, we do have some of the biggest stories on the headlines. It will be time for Breakfast Headlines here on News Central. Stay with us.
You're welcome. It's time for Breakfast Headlines. I am Benga Aboro. I will begin the news in the Federal Capital Territory, where former Sokoto State Governor Aminu Tambuwal is currently in the custody of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, over allegations of large-scale financial misconduct. Tambuwal is being investigated over alleged fraudulent cash withdrawals totaling 189 billion naira transactions said to be in violation, of the Money Laundering Prevention and Prohibition Act of 2022. Sources say the former governor arrived at the EFCC headquarters in Abuja early on Monday morning. It is now undergoing interrogation by investigators. The alleged infractions reportedly took place during his tenure as governor between 2015 and 2023, involving suspicious and unauthorized withdrawals of public funds. Tambuwal, a former Speaker of the House of Representatives, is expected to remain in EFCC custody pending further investigations. Away from that, Comfort Imason, the passenger accused of assaulting airline officials aboard an Ibom Air flight from Uyo to Lagos, has been charged in court and remanded in Kirikiri Correctional Center in Lagos. Tunde Moshood, Special Advisor of Media and Communications to the Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Development, confirmed the development on Monday. A statement comes amidst warnings by the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority that stricter enforcement actions will be taken against passengers engaging in disruptive conduct, which has been on the rise in Nigerian airports. Meanwhile, the airline operators of Nigeria has imposed a no-fly life ban on the passenger. AON spokesperson Professor Obiora Okonkwo said on Monday that the decision followed a review of Ibom Air's detailed report on the incident. In the meantime, Minister of Nigeria's Aviation and Aerospace Development, Mr. Festus Keyamo, has condemned the public release of a video showing the indecent exposure of a disruptive passenger during a recent incident on Ibom Air. In a statement posted on his official X account on Monday, the minister described the video as totally unacceptable, adding that while filming the incident was necessary for possible prosecution, sharing it online was deplorable. He ordered sanctions against the staff involved and called on the airline to improve staff training in public relations and the management of volatile situations. Keyamo also announced a joint security meeting scheduled for next week to enhance coordination among aviation stakeholders. The minister further warned that passengers who engage in unruly behavior risk flight bans and criminal charges, urging those with complaints to go through the NCAA's Consumer Protection Directorate instead. The Inspector General of Police, Mr. Kayode Adeolu Egbetokun, has approved a further extension of the grace period for enforcing the tinted glass permit requirement for vehicles. The new enforcement date is now set for October 2nd, 2025. This decision comes in response to a significant surge in permit applications through the official portal, a development the force says reflects growing public compliance. According to a statement from the Nigerian Police Force, the extension is aimed and allowing adequate time for thorough review of applications, ensuring the permits are issued only to eligible and qualified individuals in line with national security concerns. The extension will also support the continued fine-tuning of both digital and physical verification systems to maintain integrity of the permit process and prevent potential abuse. The police reiterated that only authorized application platform is polsap.gov.ng and advised citizens to ignore any unofficial channels. Members of the public are also encouraged to report all cases of extortion or unauthorized processing to appropriate authorities, including via the dedicated hotline of 0916-996-7000. Now, following News Central's report on allegations of land grabbing involving the military cantonment in Jaji, Kaduna State, the commandant of the Nigerian Army Infantry Corps, Major General Usman Yusuf, has responded in an exclusive interview with News Central. General Yusuf clarified that the presence of the Nigerian Army Aviation in the area, part of efforts to combat insecurity nationwide, necessitated the resettlement of illegal communities who have occupied the land for several years. He further alleged that despite a court-ordered stay of proceedings, some members of the affected communities continue to sell land and construct new buildings, thereby encroaching on military facilities. News Central gathered that the Jaji cantonment now hosts an airstrip and has witnessed a surge in operational personnel, making the area more sensitive. The commander noted that the presence of civilian settlements nearby poses a risk to the discrete nature of military operations.
The issues with the communities that are within Jaji military cantonment. First and foremost, when Jaji cantonment was established as a training institution, a core training institution for Nigerian Army, it was deliberately sited far away from the two very big towns in Kaduna State, between Kaduna and Zaria. This was a midway point. Jaji is located about 34 kilometers away from Kaduna and about 37 kilometers away from Zaria. And the reason
In Sudan, at least 40 civilians have been killed by the Rapid Support Forces when they launched a deadly assault on a famine-stricken refugee camp in Darfur. Local first responders say the RSF stormed the Abu Shuk camp on Monday, firing into homes and shooting civilians in the streets. The attack also left at least 19 wounded, according to the emergency response room. Many victims were killed by stray bullets, while others were reportedly executed. The Abu Shuk camp lies just outside El Fasher, the last major city in Darfur, still under army control. The RSF has maintained a siege on El Fasher since May, as clashes between the army and the paramilitary group continue to devastate the region. Now, prosecutors in Ivory Coast have charged 11 individuals, including members of the opposition party led by former President Laurent Gbagbo, with terrorist charge offences following recent unrest in the country. In a statement released on Monday, prosecutor Omar Bramakone revealed that violence broke out on the night of August the 1st in a suburb of Abidjan, where a public transport bus was touched and a police vehicle was attacked. The assailants were reportedly armed with machetes, clubs, firearms, and incendiary cocktails. And that's all on Breakfast Headlines. Breakfast Central continues shortly. I am Benga Aboroa.
Welcome back. Breakfast Central is the show. It's time for you to be part of it. So be our call analyst, let's put it that way, by calling the number you'd find shortly on the screen. But in the meantime, our guest is in-house with us, is looking all dapper. I must warn you, be careful, because what you're about to see will indeed motivate you. Well, we're talking about the publisher of the Niche newspaper, Mr. Ikechukwu Amechi. Drums roll. There he is. Yay. All right. It's good to have you. Award-winning. Yes. Forgive me, please. I forgot to add the award-winning.
Don't try it again next time.
Yes. I'm so sorry.
They might forgive Common, but I can never forgive you.
But nobody says it's forgiving, though. Nobody says.
Let's not preempt the authorities.
Because one person is lavishing in Kirikiri, another one is somewhere. But welcome to Breakfast Central. Let's take a look at the papers very quickly. We'll start off with the Punch, which happens to be our very first paper here on Breakfast Central. The front page of the Punch newspaper has it, panic in ADC as EFCC goes after key members. Aha!
The eagle has woken up.
Ooh, okay. And let's look at it. EFCC grills coalition member Tambuwal over 189 billion naira fraud, insists on probe. Key coalition members push back as anti-graft body summons 3 ex-governors. Who and who are they? Well, we'll get to find out. Federal government generates 5.21 trillion naira from oil sales in H1. And IG extends tinted glass permit enforcement to October 2. We talked about that extensively in the last previous hour. And customs intercept 10 billion naira worth of arms, expired drugs. It keeps happening. And the big one, Ibom Air passengers remand ignites selective justice uproar. 5 face trial over 2022 Owo Church terror attack. But let's focus. Let's narrow it down so we can move on very quickly. There's a big one there by the corner. There. World Bank approves fresh, like fresh tomatoes, fresh 12.98 trillion naira loans to Nigeria in 2 years. Another borrowing is here again. But let's start off with a big one. Panic in ADC. Mr. Mechi, what's your take on that?
Is this politically motivated, or EFCC is just doing their job?
Just doing their job.
Or the timing is just a coincidence?
Well, we have to put that in perspective. Of course, when the news broke yesterday that former governor of the Sokoto State, Aminu Tambuwal, was invited by the EFCC. Of course, if you read through the lines and if you read the story yesterday, it was almost the same thing. A source in EFCC said this when the EFCC spokesperson was contacted. He said he has not. You find out that it was the EFCC that leaked the story to the media. There's no doubting that fact. So again, what do they intend to achieve? I think it is the same old template of media trial. But having said that, look, it has always been my position that corruption is one of the major issues we have in Nigeria. Corruption is the reason why our education system is not working. Corruption is the reason why our health sector is underperforming. Corruption is the issue why we have so much poverty in the land. And corruption is the issue why we are borrowing like mad people when we have enough resources that, if well harnessed, could actually serve the public good. But that said, we need to fight corruption if Nigeria is ever to climb out of this sex pit that we are in right now. Let nobody make any mistake about that. We must fight corruption. But then, look, it didn't start today. Right from 1999, right from, I think it was in the year 2000 or so, that the administration of President Olusegun Obasanjo set up the EFCC. And right from the very first chairman, Nuhu Ribadu, who incidentally today is the National Security Advisor, the allegation has always been that the EFCC, despite the very noble goal behind the establishment of that institution, has been turned, wittingly or unwittingly, by every government into an instrument of political vendetta. Now, the refrain out there is that, well, it doesn't matter as long as the people who are being picked up are corrupt. Again, there is merit in that line of thought. But where I disagree is the tendency that when those who have been picked up join the party or the ruling party of the day,
their sins are forgiven.
Those cases are dropped. You don't get to hear about it again. The immediate past governor of Delta State, if you remember, Ifeanyi Okowa, was accused of embezzling almost $1 trillion naira. He was pulled in by the same EFCC. Since he joined the APC, nobody is hearing about that case again today. If Tambuwal was still a member of APC, or was not as involved, deeply involved as he is in the coalition that is plotting to unseat President Bola Tinubu in 2027, the question needs to be asked, would he have been pulled in yesterday as he was? So in as much as we need to fight corruption, in as much as the schools that because I have joined the opposition is not tenable, we also need to be careful that we don't use EFCC as a tool for political vendetta, as a tool to fight the battle of the government in power at any point in time. Imagine if it were when those in power today were in the opposition. Of course, they made the same noises, they made the same allegations and all that. And to imagine that the former chairman of APC, who is today a senator, Adams Oshomole, publicly said that if you cross over to APC, then your sins are covered.
And they use deodorant for your sins.
Exactly.
While they use insecticide for the sins of opposition.
Your sins are covered. So there is every reason to fight corruption, but let it not be you are only found to be corrupt or you are only alleged to be corrupt when you are in the opposition. A lot of people believe that many of the reasons, and part of the reason why many people in the opposition today are trooping to the APC is not because they have found anything good in APC or that they believe in APC, but because they also fear that if they don't, then EFCC will go after them. So we need to fight corruption, but we need to fight it with a whole lot of justice. We need to fight it with a whole lot of fairness, and we need to fight it with a whole lot of dignity. That is the only way we can win the war against corruption.
I remember recently when we had a conversation with the spokesperson of the EFCC, I did put up this question to him about the seeming bias and immunity, reported immunity, alleged immunity that members of the APC has. And he retorted and said, look, we still have cases of this EFCC people under of APC individuals under investigation. That was his word. So I guess they're still investigating. But
right. Still talking about selective justice. I mean, that's a story. That's a big story. On the next paper, let's move now to the Nigerian Tribune. On the front page of the Nigerian Tribune, ValueJet Ibom incidents. It's double standard. Justice must be fair. Equal. Obi says. Police arraign female passenger caught remand her in Kirikiri prison. Airline operators ban her from flying for life. Federal government to punish Ibom air official who released passengers indecent video. Tinted permit police extend enforcement till October 7th. Nigeria's health sector funded 90% domestically, says Minister. Cautious optimism as INEC braces up for CVR exercise. Reform fatigue sets in as 16 trillion naira debt service erodes gains of fuel subsidy removal, analysts say. Tambuwal in EFCC custody over 189 billion naira cash withdrawals. DSS arraigns 5 over 2022 onward church killings. So that's good news. And finally, some good news for some members on this set. Health, bottom left corner. FDA approves new eye drop that can fix far-sightedness without glasses.
Wow, so as I'm sitting here now, I can see what's happening in Ikeja bus stop.
Yes,
If I use the eye drop.
You can see what's happening in Kirikiri.
No, I don't want to see what's happening
But
there.
I mean, just to
It's
mention
not a palatable
that
place.
this is a point where we open the phone lines. If you'd like to react to any of the stories, to share your thoughts regarding the Ibom Air Value Jet saga, Kwam 1, Kwam 2, the numbers to call are on your TV
and
screen.
Kwam 3.
Kwam 3.
And if you notice, we've started having issues in the Nigerian aviation sector just after Mr. Oshomole's incident. So maybe he's the one that plays something there.
Spirits.
For the spirit.
Let's hear Mr. Mishin.
But I'd like to hear his take on
I'm talking about the Kwam 1, Kwam 2. I think we are not quite right. I think we already have a Kwam 1 that is not Kwam 1. If you ask me, the Kwam 1 is Oshomole.
So maybe we should have named it Oshomole.
So they would have changed the name to Osho 1.
Osho 1, Osho 2, and Osho 3. So, because, look, this saga, like Benga just said now, at least in the recent months, it started with the Oshomole, who blocked the boarding or stopped the boarding processes of APs. The authorities said they are still investigating it. Of course, Oshomole is a big man. Nobody knows where that investigation is right now. Then we had the Kwam 1 and the Kwam 2, Comfort Emerson. Look, I've watched that video, at least now the one that was released by Ibom Air. And somebody said that we may run into the problem of a single story.
Danger of a single story.
Yeah.
Because this is coming from one source. And we've not had if the Comfort of a lady did any recording herself, that we've not had from her. But that said, let me also say that no matter what the issue was, that Comfort did not behave well.
At all.
There was no reason to
all the way
go into that altercation, fisticuff, and all that. There was absolutely no reason. You know, I fly frequently, and you have this tradition.
Sir, you have to be careful. You fly airplanes. Because this is Nigerian context.
Okay.
Let them not think you are a wizard.
So dramatic.
I fly in...
I'm only protecting you, sir.
Okay, now let's move on. And you know, I've been in flights where people are told to switch off their phones, which is a standard procedure. And you see people arguing, my phone is on flight mode and all that. But you are asked to switch it off. Now, this is barely a 1-hour flight. Will you die if you don't make use of your phone for just 1 hour? So whatever it is, Comfort did not behave well. And it is also good that the law is swift. She was arrested, charged to court. I never knew that the Nigerian legal system could
so
be
efficient
and as swift as it is in Comfort's case.
Yeah.
So, is it a well-deserved common pants? Of course, it is still an allegation until she is not convicted, no matter what we saw on video. It is in court. Let the court process now pan out and let the pronouncement be made on the legality of what she did or what she did not do. But, you know, Festus Nakayamo also condemned the release of the video, which he said is indecent. And if you ask me, I agree with him. In the social media. It is also good that he is saying that whoever released that video must be sanctioned. So we are waiting. It won't be difficult to identify who released that video. So
it won't be difficult at all.
we are waiting for that to
All right, we have a caller.
happen.
Sorry, we have a caller from River State. Hello, good morning. Lucky. Sorry for keeping you.
Please turn on the volume of your TV set as well, and then go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, honestly, I don't know what is going on in this country. We talk about corruption. Like our former, we have the past government that have already been charged for corruption cases. Person like our Senate president, our Senate president, Akpabio. When we talk about his own last time, it was when he crossed to the APC. His own sin was already forgiven. We talk of a former governor of Abia State, Atikoji, almost the same thing. And we talking about the former governor of Delta State, Okowa, almost the same thing. His own sin is already before forgiven. And we are talking about Tamboa because of the coalition they form in this country. Are we playing in this country? It's not fair. We all are Nigeria. Let's do things at the right way so that this country can move forward. We are not look at what is happening in other countries. It's not like this. We cannot move forward like this, fighting corruption, fighting you take your opponent as your enemy. Is that how to fight corruption? I'm not happy. I mean, Nigeria, we all are Nigeria. We all are brothers. Let's look for ways to move this country forward. It's not by fighting ourselves. We are not enemy. Because we are running the different political party, we are fighting ourselves. Is that how this country will move forward? I don't think so. Thank you, my sister.
Thank you for joining and sharing your thoughts.
Yeah, so, like I was saying, look, it is good that we are doing what we're doing now in terms of prosecuting Comfort Emerson. But people have also raised that issue, and that was the major point that Peter Obi made. What about .1? When justice is selective, when punishment is meted to people based on who you are,
who you know,
and what you are, then the justice system cannot be seen to be fair, cannot be seen to be credible enough. Look, the crime .1 committed is as grievous, if not more grievous, because his could be likened to terrorism, a hijack, because you stood in front of an aircraft that it cannot move. .1 delayed that flight for almost 1 hour. And rather than handcuffing him and taking him out of the tarmac, which was what put the pilot in problem now. Because when the doors of that aircraft, when the door was shut, .1 had no business being pleaded with any longer. If he said he was not going to move, they ought to have handcuffed him and taken him out of the tarmac.
The same way Comfort was removed from the tarmac yesterday.
Exactly, bundled out. But here we were pleading with him, so much so that the pilot, again, I'm not supporting what the pilot said, because no matter the level of provocation, lives were involved, and she shouldn't have moved that aircraft. But the moment that the engine was switched on and the door was shut, the airport security could have taken .1 out of that place. Okay, now, instead of the man being charged to court, NCAA, I think their spokesman granted an interview yesterday where he was saying that it was Ibome that charged Comfort to court, and therefore that ValueJet should have charged Kwam1 to court. And because ValueJet did not do what they were supposed to do, that was why they referred the case to the Justice Minister and I think the IG of Police, that they have done what they are supposed to do. Of course, the IG of Police and the Justice Minister, I can bet you they are not going to do anything.
About the Kwam1 case?
About the Kwam1 case.
All right, let's hold on. We have Jumbo calling from Lagos. Good morning, Jumbo. Thanks for calling.
Good morning.
Good morning. Please go ahead.
Thanks for having me.
Make your contribution, Jumbo.
I want to talk about the issue of the bomb air. You know, politics have so divided us in this nation that we have allowed it to be. Like your guest is saying, when the issue of Oshomole happened, if the authority and our law had taken its course, I believe the Kwam1 one wouldn't have happened, and this one that just happened recently that we are describing as Kwam2 also wouldn't have happened. But you see, if you go to our social media and see what people are discussing concerning that of Oshomole, the division there, then when you get to Kwam1, the blames and all that. That is why this are happening. And this is not just what is happening. When you enter our airline and see the behavior of people, those that will stand up to tell you, do you know who I am? Then you begin to wonder what the law of our nation is all about. So is it so selective that the commoners are obedient and there are people that are not in obedience to the law, or the law does not even exist to them? So I want to say that exactly what happened to Ms. Emerson should be meted to everybody. It shouldn't be selective. If Oshomole has been cautioned by the law, and say probably Kwam1 did his own and he got arrested, this one wouldn't have happened. In a sane society, when we leave the shores of this country and go to a country that is well organized, the way we behave, you won't believe that we are Nigerians. We behave we coordinate ourselves. Even we behave better than the people that are there before us. Then the moment we drop down to Nigeria, it's as if the mentality will just change. I just pray that we leave politics. We leave politics and behave well. The society belongs to everybody. We are one Nigeria, and we should stop this division so that we can move forward. The nation is backward, and I pray that this time around. Thank you.
Thank you for your call. Let's move on now to another story. I know we've touched on this Kwam1, Kwam2, Kwam3 situation, and I'm certain that it will continue because we hope that the NCAA will carry out, and including FAN will carry out their investigation and then give us a full detail. And then Nigerians are also waiting to see what will happen to Kwam1 since the same investigation is ongoing. Is it going to be the same? What is good for Peter, also good for Paul? But I'd like us to look at this story very quickly. We have another story on the front page of the Nigerian Tribune, or better still, yes, let's look at Nigerian Tribune very quickly.
Okay, you want to take a story there?
Yeah, I want to take a story there very quickly. It says, tinted permit, police extend enforcement till October 2nd. Nigeria's health sector funded 90% domestically, says Minister. The health sector funded 90% domestically. And
well, I don't know what it means by funded 90% domestically. Was it supposed to be funded from external sources? It doesn't make sense. We have for so long lived on feeding bottle from the donor agencies, and now that Donald Trump has pulled the plug, as it were, on funding sources like you said and other things. We should be able to fund our institutions, whether it is the health, whether it is education, look, living on charity from international donor agencies or from foreign countries, living on aid from abroad is not the way to go. Nigeria has a lot of resources that, if well harnessed, can fund our institutions. What is preventing us is the greed of a few. If we remove the greed of a few, we can. Look, when you open the newspapers every day and you hear, let us even take, without agreeing, that the Tambuwal story is true, 800 and something billion. One man. Okowa, 1 point something trillion, one man. Assuming those stories are true, how can only one man take this much? And, you know, we are talking about there are people in government today that their corruption has international dimension, as said by one man who is also in government with the people who he accused of their corruption going beyond our borders. So, like I said, I've not read that story, so I don't know what he means by saying that our health sector is funded 90% domestically. Where was the funding supposed to come before?
All right. I want us to take the final paper, the big story on the Vanguard, because I think it's a very important story to take. Armed herders, Boko Haram kill soldiers, others in Benue and Borno. Women protest fresh killing of 3 by herdsmen in Yelewata community again. Block Makrodi Lafia Road. Boko Haram attacks military formation in Borno, kill 2 soldiers. NAF air strikes kill scores of terrorists in Zamfara. U.S. calls for coordinated response against Boko Haram, ISIS, other terrorist groups. Report of attack of troops in Kirawa fake, says theater commander. Again.
You know, Olive, I'm tired of talking about
I am tired.
this nonsense, these killings and all that. Yesterday in the office, I was discussing with my colleagues in the office, and I told them, I said, look, the cheapest thing in this country today is life. Life is so cheap that nobody cares again. This same Yelwater, barely 2 months ago in June, 200 people were killed. There was uproar. President went to that place, did not even visit the community. It was all fanfare. The governor had to close schools so that people
can come and greet.
So it became a jamboree. Students were lined up on the streets in the rain to receive a president who ought to come manning. It became a fanfare for the president. That speaks volume of the values that we have right now. Now, 3 people again were killed in their sleep. We have many Nigerians living in IDP camps today. I used to remember in those days, as a reporter, I think with the news magazine, in the 1990s, the IDP camps we knew about in the early 1990s were IDP camps for
Liberians.
For Liberians. Was it somewhere in Oyo State or so? I visited that place. I covered it. I empathized with the people who were forced to flee their country to live in IDP camps here. We were feeding them. Today, Nigerians are living in internally displaced persons camps in their own country. Look, it is absurd. It is absurd. when people talk about a failing state or a failed state, these are the parameters.
And the funny thing is, if you read the story, they will tell you that part of what they're protesting, the women are protesting, is that they are alleging that the soldiers have failed to protect them.
Exactly.
That the soldiers are not there or they don't respond on time.
Exactly.
Giving the police and the youth the burden to protect themselves, which again will go back to the conversation about state police. It just feels like we're moving in circles.
We are. It is not that it just feels. We are moving in circles. And I can assure you, as sad as that will be, I'm not a prophet of doom.
It will happen again.
The next 1 week, 2 weeks, is going to happen again. If not in Benue, in Plateau, in Nasarawa, and all that. People are being killed every day. And the funny part is that at the end of the day, we are negotiating with the terrorists who are giving us the conditions for laying down their arms. Sometimes the state governments meet up those conditions, fulfill those conditions without these people laying down their arms, and they go on and commit more violence. No country, no matter how we want to
cover it or paint
cover it up, no country survives like this. It is abnormal. What we have in Nigeria is an abnormal situation. People accuse you, you always criticize, you always do this, you don't see. But hey, if something is good, if Nigeria is working well, why won't I be happy as a Nigerian? A Nigeria that works for all is for the good of all. You should be proud of your country. You should talk positively about your country. But talking positively about your country does not mean that when you see things that are wrong, you can't talk about them. What will those people, if I sit down here and say all is well, those people that blocked the road yesterday in Benue State, have we factored in their own emotions, their own sentiments?
The blind, and also the blind people too.
Have we thought about the trauma of going to bed,
not knowing if you wake up,
not knowing if you wake up in the morning, and not waking up in the morning is not as if that people cutting your throat.
Those who are displaced. It's really a sad story.
So, and these people who are living in IDP camps, when will they go back? When will they go back? Who is protecting them?
And that's a good way to ask to wrap up this session today. When will they go back to their homes? Who is protecting the people in the IDP camps? The stories are heartbreaking, but we'll continue to track them, and our hearts go out to the people in Yellow-Water community. Thank you so much to our guests for joining us virtually, physically, to our online audience. The YouTube comments, unfortunately, we're not able to take today, but we will take tomorrow. But thank you so much for being a part of the show. Thank you, Mr. Ikechi Kwamechi, for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for your time.
Pleasure to have you.
Thank you, Liv. The pleasure is always mine.
All right, we'll be out of the studio now. Jasiri comes in the next few minutes. See you tomorrow. Au revoir.